Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Steve Leibowitz, and coming up in today's newscast, Tel Aviv terror victim Or Eshkar is laid to rest. Jordan is fuming at Finance Minister Smotrich over the Land of Israel map. Israel eases some security restrictions ahead of the Ramadan holiday. 11 days after the Tel Aviv terrorist attack on Dizengoff Street, Or Eshkar succumbed to his wounds. He was laid to rest today, surrounded by family and friends who vowed to continue his path of generosity and love. Or Eshkar, the victim of the Tel Aviv terror attack earlier this month, was laid to rest Tuesday afternoon at the Nes Harim cemetery near Jerusalem. Ichilov Hospital announced he had succumbed to his wounds Monday after an 11-day battle for his life. Or's mother, Natalie, eulogized her son, saying, "A rare bright light was extinguished. He showed love and generosity toward everyone." She also expressed her thanks to the people of Israel who supported and prayed for her son and family, and to the dedicated hospital staff that worked tirelessly to try to save his life. She also decided to donate his organs. Eshkar was critically wounded when he was shot at point-blank range by a Palestinian terrorist on March 9th on Tel Aviv's Dizengoff Street as he and his two friends Rotem Mansano and Michael Aston were making their way to a friend's wedding. His two friends also suffered moderate to severe injuries and are still recovering.
11 הימים האחרונים לאחר הפיגוע, אור בעצם נתן פה לכולם בימים האלו את ההבנה שאנחנו רוצים לבחור בחיים, ואנחנו רוצים להמשיך את הדרך שלו, והדרך שלו הייתה דרך של נתינה ושל אהבה, והכמות באמת הלא נתפסת של אנשים שהוא היה מרכז כובד מאוד רציני עבורם, במקום שמייצר חיוביות ואנרגיה, ואנחנו נמשיך את הרוח שלו, ואנחנו נעשה הכל כדי להנציח אותו וכדי להישאר קרובים אחד לשני, כי באמת שזה מה שהוא היה רוצה. ואפילו ברגעים האחרונים שלו הוא נשאר יפה ואציל וחזק, ואנחנו נמשיך הלאה ביחד ונתמודד עם הכאב העצום הזה.
In an Instagram post with a shared photo of the two of them, Or's girlfriend Lee Menachem eulogized her partner, speaking of the true love they shared and saying, "You told me that every time I write to you that I love you, it moves you, so I am yelling to the world, so you will hear. Wherever you are, thank you for the privilege of being with you." And we want to let you know that ILTV's new app is now available. So if you want to stay connected to the latest news from Israel, the Middle East, and the Jewish world, download our app on all of your devices. It's available in the App Store on both Android and iPhone. Israeli security officials have eased restrictions on Palestinians in Judea and Samaria ahead of the Ramadan holiday. Among other measures, Palestinian worshippers will be freely admitted to the Temple Mount for Friday prayers. Family visits are allowed into Israel with prior security clearance. Palestinians living in the territories will also be allowed to book tickets for flights through Ramon Airport in southern Israel. Some residents of Gaza with security clearance will be allowed to visit Jerusalem during the holiday. The announced measures came a day after the second U.S.-brokered meeting in 3 weeks between Israeli and Palestinian security officials. The White House praised the two sides for working together toward easing tensions. A Palestinian official went so far as to tell the Jerusalem Post that the peace process between Israel and the Palestinians has effectively been revived at the summits in Aqaba and Sharm el-Sheikh. Hamas and other terrorist groups continue to criticize the Palestinian Authority for participating in the talks with Israel. Palestinian sources claim that Israel agreed to suspend military activities inside Palestinian cities and villages and refrain from arresting Palestinian terror suspects unless they are considered a ticking bomb. And in related news, the Israel National Security Council issued a travel warning Monday, cautioning that Israelis traveling abroad may be victims of terror during the Muslim holiday month of Ramadan.
In the Israeli National Security Council's latest evaluation on Monday, they concluded that Iran is still the world's largest terror instigator and believe that the Islamic Republic will continue to use terrorism as a means to achieve its aims. Security incidents all around the country could increase motivation to target Israelis traveling abroad ahead of the holy month of Ramadan and Passover holiday. The National Security Council has issued guidelines presenting the various terror threats and a warning range to rank areas from level 1, no warning, to level 4, high threat level. The council said the areas where terror attempts towards Israelis and Jews are most probable are the Georgian Republic, Turkey, Bahrain, Azerbaijan, and the United Emirates because of their proximity to Iran, as well as Greece and Cyprus. There has also been an emphasis on northern Sinai in Egypt, with the National Security Council advising Israelis to only stay in established tourism areas, such as Sharm el-Sheikh. Radical Islamist jihadist groups such as ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Al-Shabaab are also a threat due to this. The National Security Council also urges Israelis traveling to parts of Africa, the Central Philippines, Bangladesh, the Kashmir region of India, and parts of Indonesia to remain cautious. The council advises the Israeli public to continue with their travels, but to use caution and act responsibly, stay in organized tourism sites, and avoid entering interior areas or secluded locations.
I think I'll remain home this Passover season. The Jordanian Foreign Ministry condemned Finance Minister Smotrich for speaking yesterday in Paris behind a map displaying Greater Israel that includes Jordan. The Israeli ambassador in Amman was summoned for a dressing down. Smutrich was speaking at a private memorial service in Paris for former French Beitar Zionist leader Jacques Cousteau. The historical map dating to pre-state days includes Judea, Samaria, Gaza, and the entire Kingdom of Jordan inside Israel's boundaries. During his speech, Smutrich also raised the wrath of Amman by saying there is no such thing as a Palestinian people. Jordan termed Smutrich and his statements dangerous and demanded a clear clarification from Israel. Following the Jordanian complaint, the Israeli Foreign Ministry issued a statement assuring that Israel was committed to the 1994 peace agreement with the Hashemite Kingdom. During his comments, Smutrich said that the Palestinian people were an invention and had no language, no history or culture of their own. He went on to say that the notion of a Palestinian people was an invention of the last century and that people like himself and his grandparents were the real Palestinians. Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh called Smutrich's comments an historic invention that he described as part of a racist ideology. And joining us now with more is settler activist and a man who I think knows about more than anybody else about Beitar history, revisionist history, and maps and such. Yisrael Meidad, the map that Smutrich was behind, can you let us know about that, and also the memorial service? Who did he travel to Paris to memorialize?
Well, I understand that there was a memorial service, as was reported, for Jacques Cousteau, who was for perhaps over 50 years a central figure of activism and Zionism in France. I think he's adored by many French Olim who have immigrated from France to here. And a representative of the traditional Jabotinsky movement, from Soviet Jewry to anti-Semitism to love of the land of Israel. Jacques was a very central figure in French Jewish community life.
And that map, what's the background of that particular map? I remember as a Beitar member, as you probably do from your youth, wearing that map on a silver chain around my neck with the same map.
Well, it started actually in 1922 when the League of Nations postponed application of the mandate.
It's the same map that you have behind you, is it not, Yisrael? It's the same map.
That's correct. I showed the map of the Tel Aviv Fund from the 1930s. What had happened was the League of Nations suspended Jewish settlement and immigration into the territories between the Jordan River and the future boundary of Palestine as to be determined. So in other words, the whole area east of the Jordan River was in some form or another to be part of Palestine. The Peel Commission, of course, in 1937 cut it down tremendously. But then when the Irgun was founded, they adopted that map with an arm raised, with a rifle held. Only thus was the slogan. And so that sort of map became ingrained in the consciousness of many people, representing the revisionist demand for all of the territory of the land of Israel.
Now, aside from the map itself, Smutrich made a comment that there is no Palestine, there are no Palestinian people. Now, that was a talking point that I think all of us used for many, many years. I haven't heard it used by Israeli officials lately, maybe not since the Bar Ilan speech, two-state speech of Netanyahu some years ago.
That is basically correct. Even Menachem Begin, can I use the phrase, lowered his language in referring to demands for the entire land of Israel. And eventually it became, I'd have to say, more or less defunct. Of course, talking about the Arabs of Palestine, up until 1920, they called themselves Southern Syrians. So the question of who they are is their problem, less than mine. I would like, though, that the Palestinian National Authority agree that there is a Jewish national identity, which up until now, they really haven't been very clear exactly what Jews are, a religion, an ethno community, or a nationality.
Yes, Winky, Yisrael Midad, I'd like to just turn your attention. You're a resident of Shiloh in northern Samaria. There have been a number of attacks in the Huara intersection. You've traveled that route many, many times, I'm certain, even on a daily basis. Is there a solution? Is there a bypass road? Is there a way to eliminate the need for Jews to drive through that town?
Absolutely. In fact, there's one that has been approved. Construction and roadworks have begun. I would have to say that Smutrich tried to move it forward. I am not privy to exactly why it was delayed. I do know that under the ministry of Merav Michaeli from the Labour Party, nothing was done on the road. And so it's simply been delayed. I presume if they really put themselves to it within 2 years, we don't have to hear any more about Huara and Jewish transportation.
I was going to say, just in closing, I mean, the tunnel that was built under Beit Jala towards the Etzion block and some of the other bypass roads have just eliminated the need of any contact between Israeli and Palestinian populations on the roads.
You're correct. And it just simply means a little bit of budget, a little bit of push, and a little bit of determination. And I think we can eliminate this terror nest from bothering Jews or anybody else who might be misidentified and drive through the town.
Okay, Yisrael Medad, thank you so much. Have a great Passover holiday.
Thank you. Same to all.